Let me tell you about the movie Land, a U.S. film released in 2021. It stars Robin Wright, who also co-produced and directed the movie. The story is about a woman from Chicago who was just recently lost her husband and son in a tragic way. The movie doesn't reveal how at first, and it unfolds piece by piece past histories of Edie's tragedy, one scene at a time. She decides to leave the population of Chicago to the remote mountains of Wyoming's Rocky Mountains. She doesn't want any contact with the public. She even says goodbye to her sister and gives the hint that she might intend to harm herself. Her sister makes her promise that please don't do anything like that when you leave, and she even throws away her cell phone because she doesn't want any contact. Well, Edie moves to a cabin that she purchases atop a mountain, and there's only basic necessities such as a wooden fireplace, a wood-burning stove, and an outhouse with no running water inside. The weather starts to get colder, and being in the high altitude regions, she struggles to keep up with the pace of chopping wood. She starts running low on supplies. Her idea for planting a garden begins not to work. She constantly reads on how to survive and do these things on her own. Well, a snowstorm hits, and everything is iced over. She makes one last trip outside, and a bear attacks the cabin and destroys the insides. What's left of her supplies are nearly gone, and she goes back into the cabin after the bear leaves and collapses on the floor. Just at this time, the next character, Miguel Boris, and a friend named Bilal, who happens to be a nurse, find her lying on the floor in the cold, nearly dead. Well, they stay a while, nurse her back to health. Miguel stays for the winter and daily takes care of her for weeks on end. When the weather starts to warm up, he teaches her how to trap and hunt on her own. The nurse returns back to her job and is only able to come by and help once in a while. Well, Miguel stays around and week per week drops by to visit and see how Edie's doing. She has caught on, she's learned the outdoor survival skills very well, but her main problem is she struggles with the fight she has inside, still grieving the loss of her family. Sometime during these outdoor experiences, Miguel shares with her that he has also lost his wife and son. Miguel goes into town on one trip. Often he leaves his dog behind for her to watch, and they spend time watching the beautiful mountain scenery. The movie plays somber music to the adds to the mood of the entire movie. Well, on one last trip, the dog is left behind for a long period of time where Eve begins to worry and wonder about Miguel. She says to herself, he hasn't ever been gone this long, and decides to give in to her resistance to going in town. She makes the trek on foot for miles back into the small town and finds Miguel through the nurse Alawa, who has probably treated him or his family at one time or another. She finds him at his home with his ex-in-laws, who have never blamed Miguel, but he's always blamed himself. They last revealed their secrets to each other, that she had lost her family at a public outdoor concert, and he was driving while intoxicated when his family was killed in a car crash. They say their last goodbyes and finally made peace with themselves through each other, having shared such common experiences. The movie leaves you with the knowledge that Edie learns that life is still worth living, that there are other caring people, and you don't have to do things alone. They both, in the struggle with themselves and their own fears and personal guilts, and learn that they can. Miguel ends his life. His life is ended in a state of peace with himself, and Edie is able to go out on her own, even able to endure the final loss of her last friend. So the movie has the moral that the human will is stronger than even the worst possible tragedies that you could endure, and it gives you hope that should you ask yourself, could you go through something like this, you possibly can. Thank you.